Greetings and salutations. Welcome to another episode of 365 Days of Gaming. I appreciate you taking out time to check out this video. Comment, share, like, subscribe. All things greatly appreciated. Let's get into it. So today we're going to be checking out a game that takes two of my favorite things, anime and pro wrestling. They combine into one over-the-top, fun, exciting, great time. And it's a game that I know a lot of people actually have never checked out. And so the game is called Galactic Wrestling featuring Ultimate Muscle. So of course I had to play a game that was based on pro wrestling and anime, right? So just to give you a little background, I first saw this anime like in the early 2000s. You know, I'm trying to check out some Saturday morning cartoons, seeing what they were doing at this point. And I come across Ultimate Muscle and I'm like, all right, I can definitely give this a shot. You know, pro wrestling, anime form, everything's turned up to 100. It's goofy, but it's serious. You know, you got Kid Muscle, who, you know, comes from the lineage of King Muscle in the Kinnikuman, you know, planet, I guess. Some of the translation stuff was kind of crazy on the American version, but either way, you got people like Terry Man, who's based on Terry Funk, but then you got people who are based on things like chess pieces, or, you know, a guy who is based on the shoes or a cell phone. Bison Man, who's just, you know, a giant dude who looks like a bison. Special Man, who's like a sports guy. Like, just all of these different, you know, crazy cast of characters. I had like a fake version of the MWO, the DMT, who were trying to like take over everything, and it was just, you know, fun, but also like very inventive, and all the moves are like elaborate versions of wrestling moves, so you know they're like super over the top and cool. And I was like, oh, I definitely got to play this if they have a game. So I ended up seeing the game, renting it, really enjoyed it, rented it a couple times to be honest, just because, you know, it was fun. And, you know, then on top of that, they got the thing that I always appreciated during this time, because this is like a PS2, GameCube, you know, Xbox era. You can do 4 players, so, you know, shenanigans can be turned up to 10 when you got a bunch of people on the screen. You know, the gameplay itself isn't the most in-depth or elaborate, and yeah, I kind of was trying to figure out how to play again because it had been a while, so I was kind of out of practice. But the good thing is, like, it's easy to pick up. Of course, it's very hard to master, but, you know, it's a lot of stuff based on timing for the counters. But the move lists themselves aren't really that complicated. You pretty much have like grab, strike, jump, dodge, and a modifier. So you put those, you know, those different combinations together with some directions. You've got a bunch of different moves. But the idea that, you know, they took wrestling and, you know, put it over the top with like the jumping and throwing people off the top of the turnbuckles and everybody jumping 10 feet in the air was super fun to me. So I really enjoyed this game, and I always wish that games like this that were based on animes really got a bigger spotlight. You know, of course, you got stuff like Dragon Ball FighterZ, who I felt like, you know, took the anime game to the next level. But there's always a bunch of other games that come out that, you know, maybe even they get a little buzz for a second, but they tend to kind of die out, and maybe that's just the nature of animes in general. But I always felt like, you know, a lot of these anime-based games were severely underrated and overlooked. So this was an opportunity for me to kind of give another anime-based game, which I thought was pretty decent, you know, some shine, because I did really enjoy this game, and I wanted to give it some praise because I don't really see too many people talking about it. And of course, I was getting cooked in the gameplay because, you know, again, I'm out of practice, so, you know, go a little easy on me. I'm a little sensitive right now. I was trying to get you some good footage, and I couldn't figure out how to do stuff. I didn't want to just put it on like 2 players and just let me, you know, have at the computer, or, you know, nobody playing on the second controller. So I had to do what I had to do. But I kind of figured it out towards the end. If you notice, you start to see, you know, some of the moves and combos kind of start to get a little prettier. But as always, I'd like to hear from you. If you've watched the anime, first and foremost, what did you think of it? Because I feel like it's severely underrated, but I'm also very biased to any sort of like combat sports, you know, sports-based anime. That's kind of my jam right there. So, but if you've seen the anime, what'd you think of it? If you've played any of the games, because there were a couple of different games. There was one for the GameCube. They're all kind of similar, but they, you know, slightly different. I think the GameCube one had like a story mode that this one technically doesn't have, so that was kind of the only weird thing about playing this version, is they didn't have a way for you to kind of go through the story. But if you played any of the versions of it, what'd you think about it? Is it something that you enjoyed, or did you think it was kind of, you know, you can tell me the truth if you thought it was kind of whack. That's fine. You're not gonna hurt my feelings, but I'd like to hear from you, hear what you thought about this particular game. I personally think it's pretty cool, And I'd love for another Ultimate Muscle game, but I know that's kind of a niche thing to ask for. So, as always, appreciate you watching the video. Y'all have fun. Y'all be safe. Peace.